Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I've learned very quickly, guys, that my recording voice is different from my actual voice. Hey, what's up? Hello. If you're new here, my name is Kayla and you are watching Kayla's Bookish Vibes. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 2024 releases. I have such a large list and I'm just going to break this down into quarter one. So I'm only going to be sharing the books that are coming out within the first 4 months of 2024. I'm pretty sure this is still going to be way too long. I want to give you this list anyway because a few of these books are coming out this month and some of them are already out. So I want to put these books on your radar. Without further ado, because this is going to be a long video, grab a snack and come on back. No, in all seriousness, grab a little drink, a little drinky drink. I got my sparkling water, grab a nice little snack, and come chat with me while I give you the rundown on some of these books that are coming out. And I'm just going to be reading some of the synopsis to you. Obviously, all of these books I have not read. Most of these books I have not read because they haven't even come out yet, right? A few of these books I have read because I was able to receive an ARC for some of these, and I have read them. And when those books come up, I will let you know. The first book that we have is Escaping Mr. Rochester. Now this is written by L.L. McKinney and it comes out January 16th. I believe that's today's date. Nope, that's tomorrow. Comes out January 16th. I love the cover of this book. I can say right off the bat the cover is gripping and it's giving me a very eerie historical vibe. This is a historical fiction retelling and it is young adult. This also has LGBT representation in it if that matters to you. So, a synopsis. Jane has no interest in a husband. Eager to make her own way in the world, she accepts the governor's position at Thornfield Hall. Though her new employer, Edward Rochester, has a charming air, not to mention a handsome face, Jane discovers that his smile can sharpen in an instant. Plagued by Edward's mercurial mood and the strange wails that echo through the corridors, she grows suspicious of the secrets hidden within Thornfield Hall, unaware of the true horrors lurking above her very head. So Jane sounds like she's a very strong-minded woman who doesn't want to settle down, but then she ends up falling into some sort of trap is the vibe that I'm getting from this. On the topmost floor, Bertha is such an old name, first of all. Somebody's grandma. Comment down below if your grandma's name is Bertha. Bertha is trapped in more ways than one. After her whirlwind marriage to Edward turned into a nightmare, he locked her away as revenge for withholding her inheritance. Now his patience grows thin in the face of Bertha's resilience and Jane's persistent questions. Both young women are in more danger than they realize. And it sounds like there's like a thrilling / maybe even a horror essence to this book. I'm excited to pick it up. The next book I have on my list is Beasts of War. This is by Anna Gray. Now this comes out January 16th as well, but this is a part of a series. So it's called the Beasts of Prey series. I have the first 2 books in this series. This is a young adult fantasy, and something that I'm trying to do this year is to figure out what types of fantasy I like. So I've been picking up a lot of fantasy novels, and this is one that I want to try out, you know, do a little taste test to see if this is my type of fantasy. I don't want to read the synopsis for this book because obviously that would ruin the series for me. So we'll go to book 1 and I'll read the synopsis of book 1. Book 1 is called Beasts of Prey. And it says, magic doesn't exist in the broken city of La Casa anymore, especially for girls like 16-year-old Coffee. Indentured to the notorious Night Zoo, she cares for its fearsome and magical creatures to pay off her family's debt and secure their eventual freedom. But the night her loved one's own safety is threatened by the zoo's cruel master, Coffee unleashes a power she doesn't fully understand, and the consequences are dire. So it sounds like she's coming into a power that she didn't know she had. Here for it, and I'm excited for that. So book number 3, So Let Them Burn, and this is going to be a series, it looks like, because it says on Goodreads that it's the Divine Trader series, book number 1. So this book comes out also January 16th, which sounds it's going to be a big day tomorrow for all of these books. I actually have an ARC of this book and I started reading it. I think I got through the first 2 chapters and I put it down because I realized I wanted to include it in a vlog. I have a vlog idea where I want to taste test fantasy to figure out what is my fantasy taste, and I was really enjoying this book, so I was like, let me save it for that video. So let me read you a synopsis. Farron Vincent can channel the power of the gods. 5 years ago, she used her divine magic to liberate her island from its enemies, the dragon-riding Langley Empire. But now, at 17, Farron is all powered up with no wars to fight. She's a legend to her people and a nuance to her neighbors. When she's forced to attend an international peace summit, Farron expects that she will perform tricks like a trained pet and then go home. She doesn't expect her older sister, Elora, forming an unprecedented bond with an enemy dragon. There's dragons in this book. There's dragons in this book. I'm so excited. Or the gods claiming the only way to break that bond is to kill her sister. Now, this is what really got me. So the dragons got me, and the fact that the gods are claiming the only way to break the bond is to kill her sister. I read another fantasy book, The River of Royal Blood. So they kind of reminded me of The River of Royal Blood, which is a fantasy that I read in 2023 and really, really enjoyed it. But in that book, she has to, in order to take the throne, two sisters have to duke it out, and whoever wins becomes the queen, but they have to kill one another. Like, only the surviving sister can become queen. So that book kind of put me in the mindset of that, and because I really loved The River of Royal Blood, I'm hoping that I also really love So Let Them Burn. Next, we have Into the Sunken City. This is a fantasy, and it is also young adult, so I have quite a few young adults on this list. This book comes out January 23rd, and it is written by Dinesh Thiru. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Perfect for fans of Fable and House of Salt and Sorrows. Never heard of either one of those books. In the slowly sinking city of Coconino, Arizona, the days are long, the money is tight, and the rain never stops. For Jen Halder, this life is nothing new. Ever since her father died in a diving accident, she's barely made ends meet for her and her younger sister, Thara. Enter Bahili, a drifter who offers Jen and Thara the score of a lifetime, a massive stash of gold hidden in the sunken ruins of Las Vegas. Jen knows it's too dangerous. She stopped diving after her father's accident, but when her sister decides to go, Jen's left with only one choice: to go with her. This is considered sci-fi fantasy, and again, it is young adult. I want to read more sci-fi this year. I dabbled in sci-fi last year and realized that if it's my type of sci-fi, then I will enjoy it. So I don't want to close myself off to that genre altogether, and I'm hoping to discover some more that I enjoy this year. Speaking of sci-fi, here is another sci-fi. It is also dystopia, and it is considered horror as well. This is an adult, not YA, and it is called Womb City. So this book comes out January 23rd as well. Ooh, Womb City imagines a dark and deadly future Botswana, rich with culture and true folklore. How far must one go to destroy the structures of inequality upon which a society was founded? Neela seems to have it all: wealth, fame, a husband, and a child on the way, but in a body her husband controls via microchip in the tailspin of a loveless marriage. I remember reading about this book. So the way I make these lists, it's like when I come across a book that sounds interesting, I just add the title and the author to the list, and then I go and do my research on it later. So I've read the synopsis for all these books, but it's been so long since I added this to my list that I've forgotten, obviously, all the synopsis. And the fact that it's saying her husband is controlling her body through a microchip, I know that that's what made me add this book to the list. It sounds very Black Mirror-ish to me. If you've been watching like the latest, honestly any Black Mirror, but the latest season of Black Mirror, this is definitely giving me those vibes, and I cannot wait to get into it. Again, this one comes out January 23rd. Next we have The House of Plain Truth. This is, it just says fiction, and it comes out January 30th. A lyrical, lush, evocative story about a fractured Jamaican family and a daughter determined to reclaim her home. I think I picked this book on the list because it takes place in Jamaica. I think the last book I read from the islands was Patsy, and I did not enjoy that book, but I want to read more books about the island. So I want to ruin the synopsis for myself, and if you're like me, you never really read like the entire synopsis because sometimes I feel like they give too much away in the synopsis, and I just need a little bit to figure out if I'm interested, you know? Next, we have The American Queen by Vanessa Miller. Now, this is a historical fiction. Wow, I didn't know it's considered Christian fiction as well, but it comes out January 30th. I have heard a few people rave about this book, and I'm really interested. Historical fiction is a genre that I really enjoy, so I'm really interested in this one. In 1869, a kingdom rose in the South, and Luella was its queen. Over the 24 years she's been enslaved on the Montgomery plantation, Luella learned to feel one thing: hate. Hate for the man who sold her mother, and hate for the overseer who left her daddy to hang from a noose. Sounds very dark. Hate so powerful, and there's no room in her heart for love, not even for the Honorable Reverend William, whom she likes and respects enough to marry. But when William finally listens to Luella's pleas and leads the formerly enslaved people out of their plantation, Luella begins to replace her hate with hope. Soon William and Luella become the appointed king and queen of their self-proclaimed kingdom of the Happy Land. And though they are still surrounded by opposition, they continue to share a message of joy and goodness. So this sounds like a book that is going to start off a bit rough, but I'm hoping by the time we get to Happy Land that things start to look up. Sorry guys for the position change, but my battery died, so I had to change it. The Mayor of Maxwell Street is our next book. It says, when a rich black debutante enlists the help of a low-level speakeasy manager to identify the head of an underground crime syndicate, the two are thrust into the dangerous world of Prohibition-era Chicago. The year is 1921, and America is burning. A fire of vice and virtue rages on every shore, with Chicago at its beating heart. So we're following Nell Sawyer. She is the daughter of the alleged wealthiest black man in America, a Kentucky horse breeder whose wealth and prestige catapults his family to the heights of the exclusive elite black society. Ellie has aspirations beyond society influence and marriage. For the first year, she has worked undercover as an investigative journalist for the Chicago Defender, sharing the achievements and tribulations of everyday black people living in the shadow of Jim Crow. Now her latest assignment thrusts her into the den of a dangerous vice, the so-called mayor of Maxwell Street. Charming and mysterious, Jay Shorey strives to balance his connection to the Chicago underworld with his desperate yearning for the refinement and protection of high society. Born to a murdered biracial couple in rural Alabama, he knows firsthand what it means to be denied a chance at the American dream. So this is a mystery, historical fiction, romance. I'm here for it. It really puts me in the mind. I think it's called the Harlem Renaissance series. It also takes place in the 1920s, which is one of my favorite time periods. The first book is called Dead Dead Girls. I'm not sure what the second book is called. I'll put it on the screen. But it's definitely giving those vibes because those are also like murder mystery type books. So looking forward to that one. And then the other two books that I mentioned, you can honestly pick those up now because they're already out. The next book, y'all, I've already read this book because I got an arc of it and I loved it. It's called Out of Body by Nia Davenport, and this one comes out February 6th. I really love this book. This is considered YA. It's thriller slash, I would say sci-fi. It doesn't say that it's sci-fi, but I would consider it sci-fi-esque. So the synopsis. 17-year-old Megan Allen has been jumping from friend group to friend group in her high school, trying on identities like outfits. Nothing ever seems to fit until she meets LC, the adventurous, charismatic girl who appears at her favorite coffee shop one day like magic. Finally, Megan feels like she's becoming the person she's meant to be, someone like LC. On the night of their friend anniversary, what was supposed to be a bonding experience ends in a walking nightmare. Suddenly, Megan is no longer herself. Too late, she realizes that LC has secrets, dangerous ones. Betrayed by her best friend, thrust into another girl's life, and targeted by LC's enemies, she must claim what makes Megan to get her life back or die trying. I love that book, and I will be buying a physical copy for my shelf. Okay, the next book we have is by Ray Gianna Rashad, and it is called The Blueprint. Celine Bonet lives in Texas, where choice no longer exists. An algorithm determines a black woman's occupation, spouse, and residence. She finds solace in penning the biography of Henriette, an ancestor who'd been an enslaved concubine to a wealthy planter in 1800s Louisiana. But history repeats itself when Soliane, lonely and naive, finds herself entangled with a high-ranking government official. This is also considered sci-fi and fiction. It comes out February 13th. It sounds like it's mixing in some historical elements with her writing about an ancestor, which I love historical fiction, so I'm here for that. And it sounds like my type of sci-fi. I'm also really digging this cover. I don't know if I think it's the yellow and the gold that's really getting me, and I'm trying to figure out what does the snake eating the bird have to do with the story. Obviously, we need to read to find out, but can't wait for this one. It comes out February 13th. My birthday is a couple of days after that, so I will be getting this on my birthday shopping spree. Okay, the next book I have is Tinder Beast by Lizelle Samberry. This book comes out February 27th, and this is a YA fantasy, horror, mystery, thriller, all the things. It says, after her private school is rocked by a gruesome murder, a teen tries to find the real killer and clear her brother's name in the psychological thriller perfect for fans of The Taking of Jake Livingston and Ace of Spades. Now, I tried to read The Taking of Jake Livingston, and I didn't like it. So I don't know. Hopefully I will like this one. The cover alone is very intriguing, and I'm definitely going to give it a try. I have not read Ace of Spades yet either, but it is on my shelf, and it is one that I want to get to this year. Next, we have Brooklyn by Tracy Brown. This book comes out February 27th. One of my favorite booktubers has been talking about Tracy Brown, has been singing her praises, and I really want to get into her books. So this may or may not be the first Tracy Brown book that I get into because I have quite a few on my shelf. Brooklyn Melody James has finally gotten the punishment she deserves after leaving a web of lies, heartache, and betrayal behind her. As her life slips away, Brooklyn remembers the events that shaped her into the cold, calculating creature she became. Brooklyn learns the art of hustling from her parents, who used the church to get money, idolizing her father and escaping her and despising her mother. Brooklyn's determined to be the type of woman who makes her own rules. When her back's up against the wall, she sacrifices her family, takes the burnt offering that remains, and runs away. In New York City, young Brooklyn charms her way into the inner circle of hustlers and stick-up kids, learning tricks along the way. She catches the eye of a major player in the drug game, Hassan, and they have a breathless love affair. Brooklyn becomes integrated into this operation, earning the trust of Hassan and his associates. But when she gets the keys to the kingdom, driven by unfettered ambition and a ruthless desire to survive, Brooklyn snatches the pot of gold, leaving bitter retribution promises behind her. Okay, so maybe not a romance. This is considered a mystery thriller. Sounds good. This is definitely an adult novel, and I'm here for it. Sounds like a lot of drama. Sounds like a lot of mess, and I'm here for it. Ooh, next we have The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest. I actually already read this book. I received an ARC. This book comes out February 27th, and this is a continuation or like a interconnected series. So The Partner Plot goes with one of my favorite books from 2023 called The Neighbor Favor. It is like, this is a companion novel to that. So in this book, we are following Violet Green, whereas in the first book, we followed Lily, who is her sister. So in this book, Violet Green, fashion is everything. As a successful celebrity stylist, she travels all over the world, living out her dreams. Professionally, she's thriving, but her personal life is in shambles. After surviving a very public breakup with her ex-fiance 6 months ago, Violet is now determined to focus on her career. So the breakup that happens with her fiance, you get to see a glimpse of that in the first book, The Neighbor Favor. So I loved how that was connected. But life hands her something, or rather someone, that might derail everything. Xavier Wright did not expect to run into his high school girlfriend Violet, the girl he once thought he'd marry. On a birthday trip to Vegas as a high school teacher and basketball coach, he rarely leaves his New Jersey hometown. So what are the chances? But when the initial shock wears off, they decide to celebrate together. They feel young and reckless as they party the night away, and reckless they clearly were when the following morning they wake up beside each other with rings on their fingers. So this is a second chance romance. I really did enjoy this one. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars versus The Neighbor Favor, which was like one of my favorite romances ever. I gave 5 stars. I really did love this book though. Christina Forrest does an amazing job with taking me back to my younger years. I'm pretty sure we're probably the same age because the way she writes the time periods, I'm just like, we have had to have like the same adolescent years, had to have. We are nearing the end, I promise. If you're still with me, you are a saint. The next book I have is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. This is a part of her Skyland series. This is book 2 and it releases March 5th. Now I do have an arc of this book, but I have not read it yet. Honestly, I'm wanting to save it. Like, I want to let my 5 stars breathe. You know, I like to give a little space in between each 5 star that I read. And I'm just waiting for a moment where I feel like it's been too long since I had a 5-star read, and then I can slip this one in there. You know, it's kind of like a guaranteed 5-star for me. So, and I also pre-ordered the Barnes & Noble special edition of this book, so I also kind of want to wait until I get that in my hands to read it physically. I will probably end up doing a reading vlog while reading this book. I loved Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. It was also one of my favorite books of 2023, so I cannot wait to crack into this, but I kind of can wait. I'm just trying to savor it, you know? The next book I have, I'm actually literally currently reading this book, The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. This comes out April 9th, and it is also a romance. An adult romance. A struggling event planner and a sinfully hot astronaut must decide if their fake relationship is worth a shot at happily ever after in this starry debut. That's all I'm going to read about this book because I'm currently reading this book like right now. I'm enjoying it so far. Granted, I'm only on like chapter 5, but I love the writing style. I'm in love with both of the main characters, and for me, in a romance, I don't really require too much. I want it to be nice and sweet, and I'm getting that from this book. It sounds like it's going to be nice and sweet. I'm loving that the male main character is an astronaut, because I have never read a book where the male main character's job was like something like an astronaut, you know? Like, I'm loving it so far. This book comes out April 9th, and the cover is absolutely adorable. Next we have When I Think of You. This is also another romance, and it comes out April 16th. I have the arc of this book, and I did read it already, and I gave it 5 stars. I honestly can't wait until the book talk girlies, the book talk romance girlies, get their hands on this book, because I really believe they are going to love it and they're going to eat it up. If you are a fan of Kennedy Ryan, if you are a fan of Christina Forrest, I feel like those two came together and had a book baby, okay? But this is written by Maya Ariel. Also, if you are a fan of Real by Kennedy Ryan, specifically the book Real, I think you would really enjoy this one. But a synopsis for this one. Kalia Wilson has paid her dues, but all the years behind the reception desk at a flashy film studio have only pushed her movie-making dreams further out of reach. That is, until a surprise reunion presents an opportunity that can make her career or break her heart a second time. This is a second chance romance. It's been years since Kalia's whirlwind college romance with Danny Prescott went up in flames. While her passions have stalled, his career is taking off. So when the hotshot director reappears to offer her a job on his next production, it's a shock to the system. Working with Danny may recapture the intensity of their film school days, but trusting him again won't come as easily. This book was so good. So good. Okay, if you only pick one romance off this list, I would say to pick this romance, When I Think of You by Maya Ariel. I loved this book. Again, if you are a fan of Real by Kennedy Ryan, I think you will really enjoy this book. Okay, this is one I have not read yet, but this is probably one of the ones that I am most excited for. It is called One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole, and this is a thriller / horror. It says suspense. It is adult. I'm so excited for this one. First of all, thrillers is one of my favorite genres because I can go through them quickly, and to find a thriller that is written by a Black author, it's not hard to do. I actually have quite a few recommendations on my TikTok if you are interested, but I always love to add more to my collection, and I cannot wait to crack into this one. It comes out April 16th. Kenitra has dissociative identity disorder, and they have been given a second chance they can't refuse, a position as a resident caretaker of a historic home. Having been dormant for years, Ken has no idea what led them to this isolated Hudson River island, but she's determined not to ruin their opportunity. Then a surprise visit from the house's conservative trust, just as the nor'easter bears down on the island, disrupts her newfound life, leaving Ken trapped with a group of possibly dangerous strangers, including the man who brought her life tumbling down years earlier. When he turns up dead, Ken is the prime suspect. Caught in a web of secrets and in a race against time, Ken and her alters must band together to prove their innocence and discover the truth of Kavan Island and their own past, or they risk losing not only their future, but their life. This is going to be so good, I feel like. I'm going to probably eat this up in one sitting. It comes out April 16th. It's only 352 pages. The cover is giving me everything that I need for my thrillers, and I am really excited about this book. Next one is another romance. So we have The Good Ones Are Taken by Taj McCoy. This book comes out April 23rd. I have so many books by this author on my shelf, and it's embarrassing at this point that I have not read any of them yet. I need to pick up one of her romances to give them. I'm pretty sure I own all of them at this point, but I need to give them a try. Now I'm looking at this cover. Tell me that one of the guys, the guy that's dressed up as the doctor, tell me he does not look like Michael B. Jordan. Tell me I'm lying. That is so funny to me, and I'm wondering if the illustrator did that on purpose, but he looks just like Michael B. Jordan. Anyway, a synopsis of this book. After a bad breakup, Maggie wants to find her Prince Charming, but all she's finding are frogs. When her best friends Savvy and Joan apply pressure and demand she find a date worthy of attending their respective weddings, so it sounds like both of her friends are getting married, she agrees to take her own advice and try online dating. Since she's the maid of honor for both weddings, her bridal party duties are massive. That sucks. But both brides insist that Maggie prioritize finding a date. After an onslaught of maybes, no's, and hell no's, she's close to giving up when she meets a handsome doctor at the gym who might just be the one. So I'm insert Michael B. Jordan. Meanwhile, her college bestie, Garrett, throws salt in everyone's game. At every turn, he points out the red flags and tells Maggie to keep looking. Sounds like he's trying to throw her off because he wants her. Things come to a head when Maggie demands that Garrett be happy for her, and he finally admits that he can't. Not when he's not with her. We're really going to try and wrap this up now because my camera pretty much just told me I've been talking for too long. I think I left off with her college bestie is telling her that he's also in love with her. Sounds like it's going to be really good. This book comes out April 23rd, 2024. I love the cover, even though Mr. Dr. Man looks like Michael B. Jordan. That is funny to me. Blood Justice. This is by Terry J. Benton Walker, and this is book 2 in the Blood Debt series. This book comes out April 23rd. I loved Blood Debts, okay? I ate that book up. And hear me out. If you read Blood Debts, tell me I'm lying. But would this book not make the best animated series if done in the art style and the humor of Boondocks? You can't tell me that wouldn't eat. Tell me it wouldn't eat. It would eat so much. So Blood Justice is book 2 of that, and I don't want to read the synopsis for book 2. That would ruin the book 1 for you guys if you haven't read it. So I'm going to read the synopsis of book 1. So 30 years ago, a young woman was murdered. A family was lynched, and New Orleans saw the greatest magical massacre in its history. In the days that followed, a throne was stolen from a queen. This is considered a fantasy. I don't know if I mentioned that, and it is also young adult. On the anniversary of these brutal events, Clement and Christina, the 16-year-old twins, heirs to the powerful, magical, and dethroned family, are mourning their father and caring for their sick mother, until by chance they discover their mother isn't sick, she's just cursed. Cursed by someone on the very magic council their family used to rule, someone who will come for them next. Book 1 was really, really good. Highly recommend. Check out book 1 so that you can get ready for book 2 when it comes out in April. And the last book, if you are still here, give yourself a round of applause, okay? Because you've made it through this long video. I knew it was going to be long, but I didn't think it would be this long. The last book we have is Missing White Woman by Kelly Garrett. This is a thriller, so I'm excited about this. It was supposed to be a romantic getaway weekend in New York City. Brianna's new boyfriend, Ty, took care of everything. The train tickets, the dinner reservations. He rented the 4-story luxury row house in Jersey City with a beautiful view of the Manhattan skyline. But when Bree comes downstairs their final morning, Ty is nowhere to be found, and there's a stranger dead in the foyer. The missing woman the entire internet has become obsessed with, Janelle Beckett. Soon, both police and an army of internet sleuths are asking questions Bree doesn't know how to answer. Desperate to find Ty and to keep her own secrets buried, Bree realizes there's only one person she can turn to, her ex-best friend, a lawyer with whom she shares a very complicated past. That sounds so interesting. I also really enjoyed this cover, and again, this one comes out April 30th. So, those are all the books that I'm looking forward to coming out in quarter 1 of 2024. Okay, I feel like I'm going to be eating good with all of these books. Hopefully there were a few on this list that interest you, that you could add to your TBR, or that I have put on your radar. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. If you did, please leave this emoji to let me know that you literally watched this entire video. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.